competitive motives. I've argued with myself with that topic because by the nature of how they find you is most likely going to be your line of work. So how is their intentions already like how is their intentions how could it be pure if they're finding you by seeing you being successful?
Yeah, it's like if you went on a street, right? And instead of it being a normal everyday street where all the houses are the same size, right? You would have picked your house
Yeah.
by what it looks like, and it's like 400K house, 4 mil, 40 mil, right? And it's just that's literally how it is. Like people are gonna go around, right? And they see exactly your size and probably the influence that you have and the money that you have just by your social media profile, right? So it's kind of hard to find a person who's gonna choose you for you and not for everything else when everything else is at the forefront.
Yo,
It's way before they see you. You know?
yo, funny enough, let me tell you this. And this started happening a few years ago. A lot of women that I have sex with, you know, during sex, they'll just say ack. Like that's what it is, ack. And I'm like,
Oh.
that's not my like real name. Like, you know, I have a government
Ah,
name,
shit.
but they
That's
just say
so
ack.
bad.
Yo, fuck me, ack. And I'm like, fuck it. You know what I mean? But again, at that point, I think I've become jaded towards it too, right? Where
For
now
sure.
I've just kind of evolved into this character where I almost don't even find a problem if they don't know my name at all. And I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
yeah, I am Ack.
And at that point, it kind of feels disingenuous because, anyway, for me, if I want to find a fulfilling relationship, right, then I would have to step away from the computer, and I would have to not stream and not work on my stuff, right, and go outside in the real world and meet a real person that don't know
Yeah.
who I am, right. But at that point, it kind of feels weird because it's like this, all this creating all this is all that matters to me, and you think I have to take some time off to go meet somebody that's gonna enhance my life. It seems like a hassle, and it just feels like a disaster, and I don't want to do it. But at the same time, if I don't do it, I don't want to sound like a doomer or too nihilistic. But how do you find a person uh, that is gonna be fulfilling? That's gonna be there for you? It's like impossible, you know.
Yeah,
So
it's really difficult, and I think you get to a point of just stop trying to fight it and just realize you are the sum of your parts, right? Like for example, if you're a guy who somebody met at a nightclub, maybe they saw you bought a couple of bottles, or maybe they saw you had a nice watch on or a nice shirt. Maybe they saw the car you came in or the car you left in. So you know, it matters. Like no one is like, yo, hey, I'm just looking for like a nice, wholesome spirit, and they found you. You get to realize when it's almost impossible to, you know, find someone within a vacuum. Like, let me just try to deal with the people. Like, your field is your field, right? And in the sense of the people who come that want to either date you or engage with you, or the people who you have access to, is the field of dating that you have access to. So, you know what I mean? You got to deal with whatever it
yeah, for
is.
sure.
Unless you're
Yeah,
gonna be
I
on
mean,
some, oh, I'm gonna go out my way to try to find someone. It's like, fuck.
yeah, yeah, and to be honest, it makes you jaded so quickly. It's kind of yeah, it's really hard in my opinion. I want to okay. So I've known you initially um because of a YouTube video.
Yeah.
Like my first interaction with you and your content was the Migos and Joe Budden interview,
Oh yeah.
right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Rest in
Well,
peace. Take off.
I don't want to put you on a spot
Yeah.
or like ambush you. So if you're not okay,
No, go ahead. Go
you
ahead.
know, okay. So that's one of the first. It's just out of the blue. I just one night I was just going through YouTube videos. I see that, right? It made me laugh, right? And I'm not laughing at you because I think one, that's short sighted, but two, I just thought the whole interaction, it's fun to engage with. I think it's a even though maybe it wasn't intended from you, right? To me, it felt like it. The whole interaction was worth my watch, and I fucking enjoyed that. You know, how did it feel for you going to the interview, doing it, and in the aftermath?
Yeah, so that video was about like probably 20 seconds away from being deleted and never being seen. And we decided in a hotel room in West Hollywood, I voted, let's delete that bitch, never let it see the light of day. And other people said, well, there's some content here. I felt stupid. What really happened was we're on the red carpet. It's called the red carpet, but it's not red, at least for the BET Awards. Shit was like blue. And we're there. We go with a crew. We don't have in-ears. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to one of these award show red carpet. They have booths of media companies right next to each other. It's super loud. It's like you literally have to be talking in someone's face. So we don't have in-ears, which is a very popular thing that when people are performing on stage, they have in-ears. When people are doing these things, they would have in-ears that they could hear the other mics. So if you look at, I'm asking Takeoff, and God rest his soul, he's sitting like kind of the furthest away from me. And I'm asking him like, yo, how did you feel? Like, yo, you left off Bad and Bougie. He's left off the song. You know what I mean? The Migos are notoriously known for all three of the members are on every song, but he wasn't on that song. And it wasn't something mean-spirited, but, you know, he probably took it as like, yo, wait, hold on. Like, all right, don't be smart here type stuff, right? And I think he was answering it. And I always tell people this. So I can't hear him at all. But every time he's about to say something, it sounds like he's about to shout. So he has the mic in his hand, and I'm like, yo, what do you feel like, because you left on Bad and Bougie? And he's like, and he was just, now on the camera, you actually hear him. I'm there, I cannot hear him. So he's whispering, but the whisper is picked up by the mic. I can't hear it with my own ears in the room. So I'm like, what? No. And then he's like, I'm like I'm over here. I'm like, dog, I feel like I'm like communicating with one of these aliens. I'm like, yo, like, what? Like, you see the confusion in my face.
Okay, so now they think you're being disrespectful by re-asking a question that was initially a little bit forward, and it could be forward, right?
Facts,
but by re-asking, now they know it's forward, or they think so.
Yes. However, though, ultimately they're not upset at me, and this is a part that nobody got about that video. My co-host, the guy who got up and walked away, that's Joe Budden.
Yeah.
He had a run-in with those guys earlier that day at the mall, like random shit. So he's shopping for socks. You got to have your socks right. You're on the red carpet. They pull up on him. Now, the Migos are signed to this group, are signed to this label that also signed Lil Yachty. And he used to kind of like, almost like use Yachty as a punchline to some of the stuff he said. They pulled up on him and was like, yo, bro, stop talking about Lil Yachty, like blah, blah, blah. So what happened right before this interview started, it was very tense. I really liked the group. They knew it was genuine. When they came up, I dapped all three of them up. We just shook our hand, whatever. You know what dap is, bro. Anyway, Joe Budden, which is my co-host, he tries to dap them up. They just stare him down. They just look at him. Why? Because of the incident that happened when he was buying socks. So he's already like on edge. If you watch it, if you can pull a video up, he's sitting there he's looking at them a certain way because they're not giving him friendly vibes at all. So when we get to the part where I can't hear them, he could kind of see that it's not going well. And he's like, yo, wrap this shit up quickly. And then that's what the Migos heard. But they're taking it differently because they're like, yo, you are the guy we almost got into it with in the sock aisle. So really, people think they were getting mad at me, but it was really my co-host because even though we couldn't understand each other, they didn't take that energy of, oh, he's trying to do something, right? But my co-host gets up, throws the mic. They're looking at him like, yo, it's beef time. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah. Okay, so I'm confused. If there was some sort of tension over there, well, I'm just asking, why didn't Joe Budden like extract? Why did he blow up like that?
So he's a psychopath. He's one of those guys if he feels his back is to the wall, he's the guy who starts screaming at the top of his lungs or starts doing something crazy. So that's why he did that because it's a little tension. And also he didn't really tell us this, right?
Oh. So
I'm known in the rap game of like, a lot of people don't like me, right? So I had another incident with another dude a couple days before. Some dude named Vic Mensa. So the company comes to me, Complex. They said, yo, damn, that's with one rapper that just showed up to do an interview. We're going to the red carpet. There's going to be every rapper like basically walking by you. They get a security guard, and my man Joe Budden, he says to the security guard, he says, yo, bro, I'm tough, okay? Plus my man, he's a Crip, and we're in LA, by the way. He's like, he's a Crip. If something happens to me, this whole bitch will be surrounded, okay? So what I want you to do is only focus on academics. Make sure he's safe. I'm good. So when that happens, we have a security guard who doesn't move a muscle. Like, we knew we hired the wrong security guard because he's taking selfies on the red carpet. Like, he's fanned
that's
out.
terrible. Okay, yeah.
He's fanned out. So, yeah, a couple things happened that went into it. I will say, though, this is why I now believe as a creator, sometimes the greatest things happen in the moments you believe is the worst. I felt super embarrassed because I really liked the group. I wanted them to delete that footage. And out of convincing and based on a team decision, I said, screw it. It was 10 p.m. in LA. Yeah. I say, tweet it out. And I tweeted out. Everybody tweeted it out. And that day and that clip was viral history. It's still
it's gold.
It's viral gold. And I always thought that. Remember, I told you I was like, I wanted people to like know my face and shit. I remember walking into a strip club. I walk into a strip club, and a chick was like, "Oh my god!" And then she's pointing at me like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Wait, what's going on?" And you know what she says? That's that meme. I was like, "What the fuck?" She was like, "That's that meme," because it was like a meme. There's like a GIF that people always do with me with the mic, and I was like, "Hey, at least you do my face."
Exactly. We take those. Yeah. I mean, I've had a bunch of run-ins like that. It's just funny at the fucking strip club of all fucking places. If you had to redo the interview, right? Do you feel like you could have taken control of that scenario and had a better outcome? And if so, what would you have done differently?
I don't think I could have taken control of that. Yo, my co-host was literally a psychopath. Like, literally. Like he was going to jump through that window because the only way I could have a different outcome, I would have had to wrap that interview up 2 or 4 minutes earlier. And I really was intrigued because I was really a huge fan. And I remember like we would have meetings at the office back in New York, and I'm like, yo, we got to get the Migos. We never got him. The first time we see them was on a red carpet. And also, I will say this. I'm very happy how that moment turned out. I felt like that moment was meant to happen. I have zero regrets. And, you know, I'm Offset, which is one of the Migos. I'm very cool with. That's my guy. I'm cool with his wife as well, his beautiful wife, Cardi B. Me and Takeoff were cool before he passed away, unfortunately. And me and Quavo, we've communicated on text many times. So that moment happened. And at least for me, I felt like it led to positive things. You know what I mean? Like it was internet gold, but it was cool.
I would also think that I think people will act sometimes like on the internet or even in person like these things would never happen to them and then that they're above it or whatever. But at the same time, I think when I see that happen, when they see it happen, and especially in person, they might act your way when it's live and it's happening. But I think it shows a human part. It's very human, you know, and people will relate to that. And I feel that sometimes will create a bond with people because they know what it's like to be in that moment, and it sucks. And I've had a bunch of runs like that too. Just things that I did that were like, what the fuck is this? I think they get it. I think people act like they don't, but they get it, right?
Yeah. I've always said if you want to be a creator, you got to get over this hill.
Yeah.
You got to get over the hill of trying to control the narrative and seem imperfect. I believe the creators most comfortable in their skin is the ones who know that their imperfections are being seen. Their imperfections are going to be understood by the people who love them and who understand them, and is going to be criticized by the people who hate them. And if you're given a very honest reflection of yourself to the people who consume content for you, and you're being truly yourself, I feel you will find the most happiness in that version rather than you trying to control narratives. For me, I try to share, you know, as much as my life I can that they understand me. And I think when people really give the audience less credit than they really deserve, your audience are brilliant people who understand your personality and understand why you react the way you react. And when they know intuitively, instantly when you get on stream, when you probably had a bad day, They 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 know how to pick you up.